You may have heard the notion that people who wait to have sex until marriage are prude, asexual, or even look at sex as if it's the world's greatest abomination. That it is impossible to marry someone without test driving the car before buying it. However, what is misunderstood is that abstinent couples and singles are just as excited and passionate about sex. They just choose to save the experience for their spouse. To be able to give such a sacred part of yourself to your significant other is such a beautiful experience. So why waste it? Sex ed is teaching adolescents that intimacy can be instantaneous and inconsequential. Today I would like to persuade you to agree that the teaching of sexual abstinence within schools is necessary and highly critical to the youth that we are raising. I will speak about the majority beliefs about it, the problems with sexual education, the benefits of teaching abstinence, and the way I plan to help push the importance of abstinence. According to a class survey, 84% of students believe that sex ed classes are beneficial to students. However, after being asked if there were less STDs and unplanned pregnancies due to these classes, the results were surprising. According to my classmates, only 19% were positive the classes were helping. 53% were unsure, and 30% said they were ineffective. Then they were asked if they were offended at the idea of others pushing the value of abstinence until marriage within their lives. While the majority of the class wasn't bothered, 19% believed it to be a good idea, and 11% found it offensive. Most importantly, came one of my last questions. I asked them whether or not they thought it was unrealistic to challenge people to wait until have sex until marriage. Before handing out my survey, I knew that this question would come most challenging and thought-provoking to my participants. Making the decision to remain abstinent requires you to have a strong state of mind and a will to remain firm. Only 26% of my participants believe that it is impossible to remain sexually abstinent until marriage, or for such a long time. 19% are unsure about how they feel, and 53% believe that it is completely doable. A few of my classmates decided to even remark that though it is possible, for many people it's unrealistic to ask humans to remain that patient. However, I'm here to tell you that it is indeed possible, as long as you have the right mindset and support. Instead of teaching adolescents that instant gratification is okay by giving them the tools they need with sex education, we should be pushing the values of patience. Teach the youth that sex is indeed a beautiful thing, but under the right circumstances. Next, I would like to discuss why sex ed is a problem instead of a solution within the United States. By teaching this program, we are encouraging our children to have sex instead of discouraging it. Krishma Whitaker's article, Abstinence Education Should Be Taught in Education Schools, states that it doesn't provide much information on the psychological effects of having sex on a teenager who is not mentally or emotionally prepared for intercourse. Rather, it focuses on informing children on contraceptives and birth control and where to obtain them. According to the U.S. Health Department of Human Services, even with sex ed still being taught in schools, still 39.5% of all high school students reported that they had had sexual intercourse in 2017. And 1 in 8 adolescent females will become pregnant by that time before turning 20. Speaking of pregnancies, 1/3 of pregnant teens have made the decision to abort their unplanned pregnancies. Planned Parenthood, the company that teaches sex ed, also provides youngsters with a way to kill their children when the sex ed lessons don't end up working out. The Guttmacher Institute reports that 35% of pregnant teens have abortions, and that in 2006 alone, there were 200,420 teenage abortions alone, and the majority of the teens ranged from 15 to 19 years old. Besides failing to prevent pregnancies, sex ed has also been unsuccessful with STDs. Having sex can expose you to diseases and possibly even cancer. The more sexual partners you have, the higher risk of cervical cancer and even fertility later on. Even men are prone to penile and anal cancer. Many STDs are passed from one partner to the previous partner, further showing that limiting your sexual intimacy to just your spouse is the best option. There are many benefits to remaining sexually abstinent until marriage. Like I mentioned before, not only is it the only foolproof way to avoiding STDs and unplanned pregnancies, there are also psychological benefits as well. Johanna Wilson states in her article, The Psychology of Abstinence, that people who have chosen abstinence have been found to have a stronger sense of self-worth and idea who they are. Teenagers who did not give into peer pressure are more emotionally intelligent and have shown stronger willpower than their peers. Without regret, shame, or rejection, their self-esteem is stronger. They are not left with emotional baggage and a feeling of inadequacy. There are also spiritual beliefs for many people as well. In religions such as Christianity, Judaism, Mormonism, and Islam, there is a fundamental belief that abstinence is closely tied to purity and holiness. To save your body for your spouse is to honor God. However, even non-religious people should and do practice abstinence. The values are the same. It is for your spouse and for your own self-worth that you hold on such a weighty declaration. Hold off on such a weighty declaration of love. This all brings me to the final question I asked my classmates. Should we be teaching youth of today patience over instant satisfaction? Though we may have not all have agreed on whether or not abstinence should take the place over sex ed in classes, this is one thing that the majority did believe in. Out of 26 students, 23 said yes, teach patience over instant satisfaction, and only 3 said no. While sex is amazing and fun, the results of taking the time and effort to wait for our one mate are bountiful and infinite. We need to teach our new generations that the wait is so worth it. If not for your God or for your spouse, then do it for yourself. I promise, you won't regret it. I hope that even if you don't agree what I believe in, that you would understand why I have such high standards and expectations for humanity. Though it may seem unrealistic, with the right mentoring and guidance for the children of tomorrow, we could show them how beautiful and sacred sex is and should be, in the right way. Teach them how valuable and special they are, and remind them that they are worth more than fleeting sexual satisfaction. We need to implement a system within the schools that helps us to do just that. Encourage and love them through the waiting. Even you, my dear listener, can make a difference. Remind the youth that they are amazing and that sex will not define who they are. Encourage them to believe that they deserve the very best treatment, and that if someone truly loves them, they will honor and respect them, both physically and mentally. Thank you.